Hello, Dr. Hernandez. How are you doing today?
Hello, I'm coming to you as Jimena and Javier's grandmother, but I'm really Dr. Hernandez.
Okay. So why are you somebody's grandmother today?
Oh, my grandchildren had a piano recital in Zoom. It was the most amazing thing.
Oh, how many
children in the recital played from their homes? It was beautiful.
Oh, that's so cool. That is a good use of Zoom.
Yes, I agree. It's really nice.
Okay, so let's share our agenda for today. Today we're going to be talking about, we're doing a practice interview. Don't just say no. We're going to do several simple definitions for some new vocabulary. I want to share a new citizenship resource, Voices of Freedom ebook. We're going to talk about some the webinar from Migration Policy Institute and some more outreach from USCIS. And we're going to talk about finally some good news about DACA.
Good news. Lord have mercy.
And international and exchange student program. Okay, so we're going to start off with our practice interview. Okay, so anyway, are you ready to swear me in? Okay, please.
All right. Ms. Gagliardi, can you raise your right hand, please? Repeat. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right. Put your hand down. All right. Normally, in the course of the interview, we would do 10, at least 10. Hopefully, if you get 6 right, you'll be okay with the civics questions. I would give you a dictation, and I would have you do a reading. In this day and age, we did learn, let me just go back, that the dictation will be indeed on the tablet. There won't be any paper. And the one suggestion that they made in the training was that if you have a stylus, you could bring your own stylus for your tablet. If not, they're going to give you the stylus that they have. But you will need to write your dictation on the tablet. Okay.
So this is a stylus. So you notice there's no ink. It basically works with a your iPad, whereas this is a pen. Okay, which has ink in it.
And in my case, it's interesting. In my case, I've had a lot of students who they've said to use their finger.
Yeah.
So sometimes they have a stylus in the past. Sometimes they have a stylus, and sometimes they don't. You're always going to have a finger. So.
Well, my question is usually if you use a stylus, you have to synchronize it with the iPad that they're using. And I don't think USCIS wants people to put their stylus and basically sync it into their computer, their iPad. So they may want to think about that.
But I think the stylus, if you just use it as a pencil, I think it'll work as well, just like your finger works. You know? So I think that's going to work.
All right.
So in this part of the interview, we are looking at the application. I'm going over the application. Normally, I would ask you, what's your name? What's your address? Ask you things that I already know from the application. I'm just confirming that information. Then we're getting to famous part 12, the yes, no questions. Okay, so I'm going to start there, right? All right, Ms. Gagliardi. Have you ever claimed to be a U.S. citizen?
No.
Did you understand?
Claim. I never say I am U.S. citizen.
Oh, excellent. So you understood me.
I am permanent resident.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to skip a few. Have you ever voted in the United States?
No.
Are you a member of any group or organization?
No.
All right. Have you ever advocated the overthrow of the government?
Can you say that again, please?
Right. Overthrow is like the destruction of the United States. Do you want to destroy the United States?
No.
Okay. All right. Good job. All right. I'm going to skip over here. And there's always that section about whether you've ever committed any crime. So here we go. Have
No.
you ever committed or assisted in committing a crime or offense for which you were not arrested?
No.
Have you ever been arrested?
No.
Have you ever been charged with
No.
committing? All right. Now I'm going to stop you right there. Is it okay? I'm going to talk to our public over here, our audience. Did you notice that Miss Gagliardi didn't let me finish the question? What does that tell me? That it's possible that she may not be listening. So I might ask her a couple more, but that's what I'm going to.
I'm listening, but I'm listening to the have you. Is that good?
And that's right. And that's right. We as teachers encourage you to remember the have you, but you got to listen to the sentence as well, not just the have yous. Okay. So here we got, have you ever been convicted of a crime or offense?
No.
Okay. Have you ever been placed in a diversion or deferred adjudication program?
No.
Can you tell me what is diversion?
No.
Now, hopefully the teacher didn't say that you always should say no, because this question, explain to me diversion, is not a yes/no question. It is a question that the officer sometimes asks when he wants to make sure that you understood the question. So I'm going to ask you again. Have you ever been placed in a diversion or deferred adjudication program?
No.
Explain to me what is a diversion program?
Can you tell me? I don't know. Can you tell me what a diversion program is?
I can tell you, but you are telling me that you were answering no to me. And that's a little worrisome as the officer, because I don't want you to answer no.
I don't understand. I don't understand.
Okay. I can explain. I'll be happy to explain one, but there's another word here that I want you to explain to me. So diversion is where I make you change course. If you're convicted of something, rather than making you go to jail, I can send you to a rehabilitation program.
No jail, no rehabilitation.
Okay, so can you explain to me deferred adjudication? You have a thought about that? Can you?
Defer means to do it later.
Good. Postpone. Yes. How about adjudication?
Is that to go to court?
Excellent. Oh, you're excellent. You are an excellent applicant here.
Okay.
Okay. Let me ask you a few more questions over here. Hold on. I'm sorry. I need to. Oh, hold on a second here. Forgive me. Now the officer wouldn't do this, but I'm not a good officer, so just right. Okay. Have you ever been removed, excluded, or deported from the United States?
No.
Can you explain to me the word excluded?
No.
Okay. So we're going to stop right here. This was one of the words that we received last week. If you remember, can we drop the interview and go into a teaching mode or
Sure.
no?
I'm going to pull that up. Keep on talking, okay?
Okay. All right. So last week, if you remember, Ms. Gagliardi received a list of words, 7 words from one of her listeners, and said, "Would you please explain these?" And these are the list. Oh, these are the easy answers over here. This is like what we did last time. What I did is we received the list. I always encourage people to find them on your application, because it's important that you be familiar with your application and you need to know where the words are in the application. Okay, so on the application, there's a word that means erased. Anybody have a thought about that? The word is expunged. This is a very big word. It's not one that you would normally know, but expunged means erased. Right? But if the officer were to ask you, "Oh, can you explain to me expunged?" then you'd say, "Oh, it was erased." Usually they're talking about your record.
Criminal record, yeah.
And if you've committed a crime in the past and you've paid you've gone to jail or you've paid the fine or whatever and everything's fine, you could later go and say, please expunge it, please erase it, right?
And that actually happened to one of my students. Even though he had his record expunged, he basically had to say, yes, I have my record expunged. These are my court records. And they said, great, you did everything to prepare for that answer. So it was really good.
And it's important. There's a couple of times when, for example, people expunge their file, their court record, because they don't want it to harm them when they go and apply for a job. But let me just say, with respect to immigration, nothing is ever hidden. So whatever you did, they already know about it. It won't be hidden from them. And so therefore, you think it's expunged. It's expunged for your employers, but it's not going to be expunged. It's not going to be hidden. It's not going to be erased for immigration. This also comes up when people have committed a crime when they were juvenile. And usually in your state, if you've committed a crime as a juvenile, they hide that so it doesn't affect you as an adult. But immigration, USCIS will know about it. So there's no hiding either cases or things that happened when you were juvenile. So just remember that.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to go to the next. Somebody asked us last week a word that means change course, and that's this, diversion. This is one of the words that I asked Ms. Gagliardi earlier in the interview. So diversion, if they ask you what is diversion, a simple answer is to change course. They're changing you from going to jail or going to probation and into a rehabilitation program usually.
This could be, is this alternative sentencing?
Yes, all of those. Diversion is also.
Let me add that, okay?
Yeah, they didn't ask us. The list that we got from these words are from last week, right? These are the ones that were specifically requested. But alternative sentencing is the same idea as diversion, that they're going to, rather than normally sentencing you to jail or to a fine, they're going to send you to rehabilitation, a place where you can get over your drug. Usually it's with reference to a drug problem.
Yeah,
right?
They would rather rather cure somebody from their drug habit than criminalize the drug habit.
Right.
Okay, great.
All right. We had a word that was asked last week, which means take back. And take back is the very elegant word for that is rescission. You have something, we're talking about your citizenship or your permanent residence, and rescission means we want it back. We're going to take it back from you.
Okay. And that usually is related to a person's permanent legal status. So for instance, maybe you have a visa to be here and you're here permanently and you have your green card. They can basically take that green card back from you if they need to. Okay.
Right. And Ms. Gagliardi, you need to add an S to rescission. It goes before the C.
Really?
SC, yes.
Oh my gosh, so many S's and so many C's. So let me type
Sorry about that.
RESCISSION.
Perfect, yes. Sorry.
Rescission. Too many S's. Too many no O's. Okay, rescission. Okay, great.
Okay, we had a word that was asked of us last week that means rejected. And the elegant word for rejected means excluded, right? You want to be here in the United States, they can exclude you. They can say, no, your request is denied. It's rejected.
Okay.
So, you might have been here. You might have asked for a visa, and they've decided that they're not going to give it to you. They were excluded. Okay. Another word that was asked of us, it means avoid, but the word that was asked of us is evasion. And it's interesting. Evasion comes at the end of the application. It's in the final line of the oath. You're going to be administered an oath asking if you're willing to take the oath. It's on the very last page of the application where you have to take the oath of allegiance. That oath will be administered to you, usually in the interview. And one of those words is evasion. right, to avoid.
Yeah, I don't want to avoid my responsibilities.
Good.
I want to take on
Plan.
responsibilities of American citizenships. Okay.
Right. In the interview with Ms. Gagliardi, I asked her about if she had had a deferred adjudication. And when I asked her what it meant, she was right on. She said delay. So it's postponing the decision, right? Deferred. Good one. Oh, deferred is, I think it's DI. Check it.
Oh,
DI, I think is deferred because I made this mistake too.
is it 2 R's?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Adjudication. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're making the decision afterwards, right? Later.
Adjudication.
Perfect. There you go.
Okay. Whoa.
Extra A over there.
Yeah.
Perfect. There you go. Okay. And then the last word that we were asked last week means not tell the truth. Oh, you know what? I have a typo there. Because truth is TRUTH. I'm sorry. I have my typo. Sorry about that. But the word on the application is perjury. Because when you're ready to sign your application, they're asking you if you're not committing perjury, right? Are you telling the truth and not committing perjury? So that's the question. Are you telling, when you do perjury, it means that you're not telling the truth.
Okay, 1 minute, please.
So we are thankful for that person sending us the list of words. We are open to people doing that. They need to be on the application, and what would help us is if you have some words that you'd like to have explained, if you would indicate what page or what line in the application they are, so that we can put them in context there. So it just
because words can be different things in different places.
Exactly.
It really depends on the context. So I'm going to be posting this worksheet that you can basically take a look at. Let me share another worksheet that was shared with me. So, Word, I think, is this one. Sorry. Excuse me. One more second.
Look at these words. Actually, you're giving us a good look at these words.
So unfortunately, basically, sorry, I'm going to have to basically get out. Is this it? No, I'll, let me go and find that 1 second. Okay. And scourge. Okay. So I'm going to go back, share the screen, go back and get it. Okay. Come on, share. Okay, here it is. So here's the words.
In the final column is exactly where you'd find the word, because people need to be always familiar with their application. It will help them. If the officer begins to ask questions, it's good if you can figure out where are they in the application. Some officers begin at the beginning. Some officers start questions in the middle, but it will help you if you can figure out where they are in the application. So that's why I put for you here the page number and the question number.
So I have an example of this. When you take the oath at the beginning of the interview, you're promising to tell the truth. But when you're talking about, are you willing to take the oath of allegiance, that means you're promising to be loyal to the United States. So the word oath refers to two different things in that situation.
Well, oath is a promise, regardless of what it is. It's right.
Yeah.
You're in trouble. It's a pretty important word.
Right.
You can be in trouble for telling a lie. So we always tell our students, don't tell any lies, because often the lie is more serious than the mistake that they're asking about.
Right. So now let's continue on. Let's go back to the PowerPoint, and we want to. So thank you very much for sharing the simple definitions.
And thank you for sending in the words.
Yeah, and please send it. Yeah, if you have more words, please send them in.
Yes.
I want to talk about a really great resource. This is Voices of Freedom, a standard textbook that we use in our classrooms. Do you use Voices of Freedom?
No.
Okay. So Voices of Freedom is written by Bill Bliss. This is the 4th edition. It's now available electronically, so the entire textbook is, you can download it to your computer for $22, and it also has an audio component. So that's real nice.
Audio, that's to me real important for our students is the audio. So that's
very,
good.
very, very important for our students. Okay.
I mean, often they get used to hearing us speak, but we're not going with them to the interview. So they really need to hear other voices.
Right.
Be prepared to hear other voices.
This one is from a slide from our San Jose webinar. This is a reminder about what's involved with the interview, and that the English test can be waived for people only under certain circumstances. So some people are saying, I'm over 65, I can take my test in my native language. That's not true. You have to be a permanent resident. So there's two aspects.
Well, it's minimum number of years. See, that's the issue. I have students who say, oh, I'm 65 and I've had my green card 5 years. I'm thinking, so that's not the law. And so it's really important to get facts out there, not gossip.
And it's not simply that you've lived in the United States for 20 years. You have to have a green card for 20 years.
They will be counting each one of those. They, when you submit your application, you can often submit your application 90 days early before the 5 years, right? Mm-hmm. This is not true with these. You have to comply. You have to complete each of these. So, for example, I have students who want to do the interview in their language, in Spanish or Arabic, right? You have to comply. The day that you submit your application, you have got to be already the 50 years old, and you already have to have 20 years with your green card. So it's on the day that you submit, not on the day that you have your interview.
Okay. Let's go to the next one. They're talking about what that you need to attend to the USCIS interview. Need to bring your own face coverings, blue and black pens. There's health screening, those kind of things. And where there's going to be hand sanitizer.
No, it was interesting because in the interview, in the training, they showed us a picture, a slide of what an office was, because what they've done is they put in plexiglass. You remember that? They put in the offices, and they underscored that they're not able to do very many interviews a day because they have to clean after every interview. Yeah. Sterilized. Yeah.
Okay.
Sanitized.
This is something that was, sorry, I'm having problems with my slides. They're talking about avoiding scams, and we're going to come back to this. Some counties have things specifically, task force for immigrants and scams. This is the San Jose Info webinar, and I wanted to show you because so many people have asked me how to find out information if there's going to be a webinar or outreach in your own place. So let's go to USCIS. So I need to do a new share. And we are coming to, I think, oh, great. We have the DACA butterfly. Isn't that nice? So USCIS.gov, CIS.gov. And we're scrolling down a little bit so you can check case statuses and all sorts of things. But what we're looking for news and events. And here we have local events. So we click more events. And here we see that one's coming up in Santa Clara through WebEx. It's going to be a WebEx meeting. I bet that's going to be through the library system again. Is this Saipan, Hawaii? I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with this one.
That was my question. I don't know. I guess so. But do we have a city called Saipan?
There's Saipan Island.
Okay.
Let's look at the meeting invitation. No, San Francisco. We have one in Irving, Texas, and we also have one in Sacramento. So please take a look at these webinars and find out your own information, because you can ask me, but sometimes I don't answer questions because I'm attending to a family business or I'm teaching. So if you really want to know, basically get on USCIS email list, and you can do that, and you can get through contact public engagement and find out that information. Okay, I'm going to go back to the website. I'm sorry, to the PowerPoint. So now let's go on to one of the things I wanted to comment on is that we have this slide about avoiding scams. Okay, one of the things that we have is that FTC, the Federal Trade Commission Consumer Protection Unit, has 2 really great fotonovelas in English and Spanish that you can download as a PDF and distribute to your students about notario scams. So both of these are really great in English and Spanish. Also, you can order them by bulk and hand them out to your students. Another one that we could talk about is that we have a US Scams playlist, which has about 20 videos in there of people talking about, I'm talking to a USCIS officer. We had a really long interview, about 30 minutes, but I took the interview and I sliced it up into different topics. I put it in a playlist, and so if you're interested only in immigration scams related to India, you can skip to that part. Or if you want to see a video where an officer is talking about Chinese, about robocalls in Chinese, you can skip to that video. So please take a look at that playlist. So you can find that at bit.ly/US-scams. Okay, now this one is really super important, the Migration Policy Institute webinar. This happened on the 16th. They have a really interesting book that we download that you can read in full. And we're going to, if you want further information, make sure that you go directly to Migration Policy Events. You can watch the entire video there, and you can also, again, download this PDF. Now, you had some comments. Do you want us to go to the web, directly to the website and show people this, or do you want to get to your comments first?
Oh, well, they're on the slides. Do you want to just go ahead?
Yeah,
and show
okay, let's just go to the slides. Okay, here. So, can you talk about what your
yeah, one of the things that they've given us a heads up about is that it's got the timeline for the turnaround time, the processing time is getting longer and longer. They say it's doubled now, and I was just telling Ms. Gagliardi that I've been doing citizenship 35 years. It's been a very long time, and when I started citizenship, it was right after the amnesty program, and all of the amnesty people.
Wait. Talk about amnesty. That's very important. People do not know about amnesty.
Okay, this was a very long time ago, but what was it in the 80s?
1986.
Yeah.
Right?
People who had been in the United States without a green card were given amnesty. There was a way for them. They'd go to school, they'd study English, and then they'd have an interview and they could get a green card. So there were millions of people. I think 3 or 4 million people got 3 million probably got their green cards.
I heard it was 8 million. I really heard it made a significant impact, especially in California, because people in California, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, they cross the border constantly. Why? Because they have family, they have houses, they have property, they have businesses, they have all sorts of things. They have a right to be there because they have family, they're minding their own business, they're taking on adult responsibilities. However, they don't have that very important documentation. So the Reagan administration basically proclaimed amnesty so people could get their paperwork in order.
And notice, Reagan was a Republican, eh?
Yes.
We always associate amnesty with Democrats. And no, it was the person who signed that law was Ronald Reagan. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. And so what I was commenting to Ms. Gagliardi was that when I began working or teaching teaching citizenship, the time frame at that time, there were so many people applying for citizenship that the timeline was 3 years. And people would come in, fill out their application, go off, go on vacation, and come back and study, obviously, because you always have to study for your interview. Now, it doesn't look to me like it's 3 years, but clearly in the webinar, it was clear that things are going to be longer. It could be a year, could be a year and a half. And
Can I address that?
Sure.
Can I address that? Okay, in San Jose, it was 5 months from the time you send in your application to the time you're called for your interview. 5 months is really a short time. And some people try to use that time to learn English in 5 months. I don't think so.
That's,
but
anyway, it's way too short.
Now on the USCIS website, it's 12.5 months to 36 months. Why are they adding in 36 months? Because we might have the furlough coming up. So people are really nervous about that. Anyway.
So the only reason that I put the first line in there is that over time, the processing time has changed. Exactly right that it was way down to 5 or 6 months. But we're going to see with coronavirus and the furlough, that the timeline is going to be extended. And we were talking, you'll see, let's see. There was another interesting comment. The furlough is being, they're going to a furlough. If it happens, it's because the USCIS is without funds. And the person, a former director of USCIS indicated that up until last year, USCIS always had a surplus, right? And I had said to Ms. Gagliardi that part of the problem of this lack of funds now is that the present administration has asked USCIS to do more things with the same amount of money. One of the very first things that I remember that changed was that they put in a whole big fraud unit. They hired all these attorneys. Well, where's the money coming from? The administration didn't provide any more money. It was going to be taken out of the same budget that USCIS.
And they haven't found fraud. In fact, the system was working really well. And because the USCIS officers are trained so well, in fact, I heard they have a USCIS Institute. I'm like, I want to go. But anyway, guys, hook me up. Anyway, they were trained officers were able to pick up, especially on marriage fraud. And so now with the current administration, they basically are really doubling down on that fraud, and they're not finding systematic fraud. They're finding things. So for instance, like people were coming into their interviews, and it seemed like the interviews that they have taken for their green card or whatever the case may be, they were being re-adjudicated.
Right.
Instead of like they're going back and asking me back all this information that I already proved.
Yeah, when you have a green card, that means that they've decided everything with respect to the green card. But this is like new, where they said now they're going to ask you questions over again that you had to answer when you had your green card interview. And it makes, one of the things is it makes the interviews longer.
A lot longer.
Ms. Gagliardi and I have not seen that. I have to tell you that amongst my students, I haven't seen that, but I only have a certain number of students. But what they were indicating in this survey across the United States is that people had noticed, people who who are in citizenship preparation had noticed, right, that the interviews were getting longer. And things were slowing down. Obviously, the processing time was getting longer too.
Yeah, one second. So I really suggest that people go ahead and take a look at the download of this report, because it basically reports out what the survey is. And take a look at watch the video, which is under the events section of migration policy, and make your own decision, because some of the things they said I have not personally seen as a teacher, and I haven't gotten the report backs from my students about that. But they basically really made a good faith effort to collect information and basically present this and say, there's a problem. And I'm sure there is a problem, but we need to be really vigilant to make sure that the problem does not spread. Okay. Do you want to? Yeah.
This summary actually comes from the webinar, which is centered on this report. So these are also summary items from that report.
Okay. Is there anything else that you want to say in here from this?
Just that, I guess the
September.
big news, when I had gone to a webinar, I had attended a webinar on Wednesday from USCIS in around the San Jose area. And this one was from Washington. And the one in San Jose had indicated that there's going to be an upcoming increase in fees for citizenship applications, almost doubling the price. The indication on Wednesday was it would happen at the end of the year. The indication on Thursday was that it would happen in September. And if that's true, then I have to prepare my students. The strategy that I was going to use is I was going to call every student and say, there's an upcoming increase in fees. And even though you're not ready to take the interview at this point, I would send in an application so that at least you don't have to pay double.
So it's just like the end of the world. You don't know when it's coming, but we better be prepared. So
or
migration.
The big one. We're talking about the big earthquake, right?
Yeah.
The big one.
Yeah.
If you're from California, yeah.
Yeah. So Migration Policy Institute, people were seeming to think that might be coming in September.
Yeah.
And these guys are really dialed in. They have really good, solid information. They have the very best access to the information. So get ready for that. So, but finally
wait, Jennifer, I wanted to say the week. No, go back to your slide. The one the week began with good news and the week ended with good news. And I just wanted to underscore that. And we see our beautiful butterfly here. Go ahead.
Yeah. So why do DACA students use the butterfly as a symbol?
I don't know.
Well, yeah, because the monarch butterfly crosses all borders. They go from Canada, United States to Mexico, back and forth. People know borders, and people want to be free to experience life. So, the DACA students are now able to accept new applications. So people now
USCIS is supposed to be. Remember, the issue was that the Supreme Court made this decision in June. And what they said is that USCIS has to be accepting applications from new DACA students as well as renewals. And people had begun to submit the request to apply for DACA, and USCIS was turning them down. So people had to go to court. And it took on Friday at the end of the day for the court to say, no, USCIS, you must begin accepting applications from new applications from people who hadn't applied before, because that's what the Supreme Court said.
Yeah, there was like a 3-year hiatus where could be no new applications.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Also, the F1 International Student and Exchange Visitor Program, they were saying that these students had to leave if their schools went online. Now they're saying that these students can stay, which is really, really great.
When have we ever seen it's very rare that we see the administration change their mind. But
a lot of schools, a lot of teachers.
And on Monday, they said, no, we're not going to do that. Monday or Tuesday, they said they weren't going to do that anymore. They changed their mind. So people can stay. That's the issue.
So, and the final thing is stay home, stay healthy, and stay strong.
Exactly.
So, anyway, thank you so much for stopping by.
Next week, it's so nice. Yeah. I hope for more good news. It would be nice to begin and end the week with good news like we did this week.
Next week, too. Okay, anyway, I'll talk to you later.
Yeah.
Bye-bye, Dr. Hernandez.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye. Mwah.
All right.
And then...